there, fellow cosplay enthusiasts! If you are new here, great, so am I. This is only my second video ever to put out into this world. YouTube. Put into YouTube. If you would like to see more of my content, follow me on all of my socials, Instagram and Twitter. You can find it here. But now, let's get started with today's video. A lot of you might know the webcomic sensation that is Lore Olympus. It's one of my favorite comics ever, and it's a modern retelling of the ancient Greek stories and legends, and its main focus centers around the retelling of the story of Persephone and Hades. I love just everything about this comic. The characters, the designs, the backgrounds, and the use of color. What do I mean with the use of color? The gods and goddesses look mostly human, but their hair and skin are all shades of fun colors. Persephone, my personal favorite character, for example, is pink, just top to bottom, a pink fluffy cinnamon roll. And due to getting into this comic and just needing to cosplay from it, I also started getting into body paint again. For the longest time, I have been scared to use body paint of any sorts for my cosplays. I just felt like I couldn't do it, I didn't know how. And the first time around I did it a few years back, I got a lot of very awful and mean critique, which demotivated me even further. But due to Lore Olympus and my absolute need to cosplay from it, my fellow cosplay enthusiasts know what I'm talking about, I got into body paint again, and I started to realize that it's not as hard as I always believed. And this is where this tutorial comes in. It's been about 6 months of me experimenting and trying out different styles and techniques for body painting, getting into Persephone and other characters of the Lore Olympus universe, and I think I've got a few neat tricks that might help some of you guys out too. So let's get started! First things first, I had to mix my body paint. Looking at the canon, Persephone actually is very pink. And I have tried that for my version of her. But personally, I just felt it was a little bit too pink in real life. That's absolutely personal choice, of course, and you can do whatever you want to. I, however, go with this very cute light pink. Sadly, my phone camera doesn't seem to be able to pick it up perfectly, but in person this was a very pastel-y pinkish color. I usually use 2 to 3 layers of body paint before I'm absolutely happy with the coverage, especially with lighter colors. With deeper, darker colors, a dark blue for example, 1 layer might be sufficient. All of this also depends on the type and brand of body paint you're using, of course. I use water-based colors. I think they are both from the brand Eulenspiegel. Those are just the ones I can most easily buy locally. I heard a lot of good stuff about Creolon and Maron paints too, but I have never tried them. To be honest, I think almost any color will work, especially if you're not planning to cover your whole body. And that's another thing. I would highly suggest any one of you to buy or sew your own fitting stockings for arms and legs, instead of painting your whole body. It's a nightmare, and it never holds up a whole con day. Moving on, I'm using an even lighter pink to start and create a more three-dimensional look on my face. The biggest problem with body paint is that it practically swallows the depth that your face has, which is why highlighting and contouring are both essential to get a natural looking result. Otherwise, your face will look quite flat, especially on photos. For Persephone, who is a very cutish character, I actually didn't contour. Breaking my own rules already. Not contouring in this case made my face look a lot rounder, which is a fitting choice for cute little Persephone. I use a beauty blender to blend in the highlights, which is easier than doing it with a brush. Moving on to the eyes. Depending on the character you want to portray, you can go in any direction with your eye makeup. A dark and broody purple person can still have dark gray or black eyeshadow to emphasize their dark character. For this makeup, I went with something that would be a natural color for a pink person. A very bright and fun pink that I just blended into the rest of the makeup. When blending eyeshadows on top of body paint, you will have to be a lot more patient because it will not blend as well as on your skin. I put a lot of eyeshadow all over my top lid and just a touch of pink beneath my eyes. Now let's talk about excessive blushing. I know, it might look a little crazy, especially at first, but blushing is another great way to bring back dimension to your face. And a cute character like Persephone is perfect for a ridiculous amount of blush. But rest assured, I blush any character I do body painting for. Giving all those characters a hint of pinkish cheeks brings back a ton of life into the makeup. Think about it this way. Your cheeks are pink because we can see the blood underneath the skin. So putting a little bit of blush on your body paint will make that character look more alive. If the character has a different color of blood in canon, I would suggest using that exact color to blush. You can actually see me struggling with my blushing a little bit here. That is kind of a stupid reason. Shortly before sitting down to film this video, I cleaned all my brushes. And all the big puffy brushes I usually use for blush were still a little bit wet. Which is why I was mostly using my small blending brush I also used for the eyes. That was my fault. I could have waited a little longer. Next up, more highlight. To make my eyes look bigger, I straight up used white body paint in the corners of my eyes. Don't be afraid to make your body paint look too dramatic. In my experience, this actually helps to make the look pop even more. We are painting our skin in strange colors after all. Why not go overboard all the way? I blend the highlights out with even more white eyeshadow. For good measure, I also put it under my brows, the tip of my nose, and my cupid's bow. Now onto the eyebrows. I have mid-tone eyebrows, and I never had a problem to simply fill them in with very pigmented eyeshadows. For example, I used the same pink I used for my eyes on my brows. However, I imagine someone with darker and fuller eyebrows might find it more difficult to achieve the colored eyebrow look with this simple method. But there are a ton of other solutions you could try. Depending on the thickness of your brows, you might want to just put concealer over them, which might be sufficient. Or you could learn to cover your eyebrows with a glue stick and do it that way. Lastly, I would suggest just leaving them in their dark state. A lot of the times, having dark eyebrows with a body painting look will be really cool too. Take my Alice Madness Returns cosplay for example. Her skin and her hair are white. Still, I decided to go with a pitch black eyebrow. It brings a cool contrast to the look and makes me look even more fierce. At least that's what I think. Moving on, this next step is highly optional, but I would suggest you consider it. Freckles. Not only are freckles super cute, but again they help make a body painted face feel more like natural skin. I mean, think about it. Do you know a single person that does not have some sort of mole, freckle or other pigmentation differences on their face? Having all sorts of spots on your face is super normal. Looking at some of my other makeup tests, I've given all of them at least some freckles. Next up is eyeliner. Recently I've been learning a lot about vintage makeup looks for a little side project I'm helping out on. And during my studies, I also studied the makeup of the late 60s, the so-called mod look. The model Twiggy was super famous for those classic mod looks. One of the key aspects of this makeup were drawn on lower lashes. This helps make the eyes look super big. That is why for Persephone I also decided to use the same technique. I think it's super cute, but for some people it might be a tad too much. You should also keep in mind that this makes your eyes look slightly droopy, which might not be fitting for every character with big eyes. Personally, I think it suits this character pretty well though. Don't forget your fake lashes, especially with a lower lash line this dramatic. For the lips I used a super pink liquid lipstick and highlighted it at the center with body paint. This again is to make the lips look a little bit more natural and give them the dimension they need. This is not necessary for every lipstick look that you do, but since those are supposed to be Persephone's natural lips, so her natural color, I think giving them this dimension really makes a huge difference. Now I just put on my wig cap and my wig and try to save the mess that it is with a ton of bobby pins. Directly after filming this video, I actually restyled the wig completely and it looks so much better now. Oops! Well, and that's pretty much it. See, body painting isn't so scary after all. If you liked it, like. If you want to see more of me, subscribe. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!